This map illustrates a massive demographic shift. Today, the state of São Paulo, Brazil, is home to an estimated 15 million people of Italian descent. That means there are more people with Italian roots living in São Paulo than in Rome itself. In the late 1800s, Italy's agrarian economy was struggling, leaving thousands of farming families desperate for a way out. At the exact same time, Brazil was experiencing an agricultural boom. They desperately needed labor to harvest their green gold, the massive coffee crops that were driving their economy. Millions of Italians boarded crowded steamships to cross the Atlantic Ocean. It was a grueling 20 to 30-day journey, with entire families leaving everything they knew behind for a patch of land on a completely different continent. This historical view of the port of Santos captures the exact location where those massive steamships docked. For millions of arrivals, these specific warehouses served as the definitive front door to their unknown future. Looking at this photograph of immigrants crowding the ship's railing, you can clearly see the intense mix of relief and anxiety they experienced the moment they finally spotted the Brazilian coast. Once off the boats, they were transported here, to the Hospedaria dos Imigrantes. It was a colossal processing hostel in São Paulo, where families rested, ate, and received their official labor assignments. These families made a blind bet on a country they had never seen, and in doing so, their physical labor provided the exact fuel Brazil required to build its modern economy. Out on the fazendas, or rural coffee plantations, the first wave of immigrants immediately applied their farming expertise. They maximized the coffee yield and began cultivating crops that had never grown there before, introducing grapes for wine in the south, alongside broccoli and zucchini. By 1900, nearly 30% of São Paulo's population was Italian. Laborers moved from the rural fields into the city, bringing with them the cantiere, a traditional culture of construction and building things meant to last. Working with stone, brick, and imported marble, Italian master masons physically built São Paulo's historic downtown. They constructed the narrow streets and iconic homes of neighborhoods like Mooca and Bixiga entirely by hand. This is the Matarazzo factory complex. The Matarazzo family arrived as immigrants and eventually funded massive industrial sites like this one, providing thousands of jobs and accelerating the city's urban growth. And here is the Edificio Martinelli. Designed and built by an Italian immigrant, it was Brazil's very first skyscraper, a literal monument to their belief in Brazil's future. In just a few decades, these laborers took a small, quiet town and laid the physical brick-and-mortar foundations for a global metropolis. After World War II, a second distinct wave of Italians arrived. Unlike the rural farmers of the late 1800s, this group consisted primarily of highly skilled technicians and engineers traveling from major cities like Milan and Rome. This new influx of talent brought heavy European industry directly to Brazilian shores. Corporate giants like Fiat and Pirelli quickly established massive manufacturing hubs. These specific industries caused a rapid economic acceleration. They provided millions of steady jobs and modernized the nation's infrastructure, turning Brazil into a leader in automotive and tire production. If the agricultural laborers of the first wave built the city's walls, the technicians of the second wave installed the heavy industrial engine that powers Brazil's economy today. The immigrants rewired São Paulo's cultural DNA, starting with the language. The streets birthed Cocaliche, a hybrid dialect mixing Italian and Portuguese. Words like ciao for goodbye permanently injected a loud, friendly warmth into the local vocabulary. They also built bridges into Brazil's national obsession, football. The Italian community founded Palestra Italia, a massive club known today as Palmeiras, which still proudly wears the green and white colors of the Italian flag. This portrait shows artist Alfredo Volpi. He merged Italian painting techniques with distinctly Brazilian themes, like the colorful little flags used in local June festivals, pioneering a unique modernist style that influenced the nation's high culture. Inside the municipal market seen here, simple Italian ingredients became vital citywide staples. Stalls began serving towering mortadella sandwiches, a hearty, inexpensive meal specifically designed for the everyday worker. The city now hosts over 6,000 pizzerias. They took the classic Italian dish and modified it into a distinctly Polistano tradition, loading thick crusts with local ingredients like catupiry cheese. This nighttime street scene of the Achiropita festival highlights how deeply these food habits took root. Across the state, Brazilians now universally eat lucky gnocchi on the 29th of the month, and almost every family gathers for Dia da Macaronada, a massive pasta meal every Sunday. At the very center of these Sunday meals is the nona. The image of the Italian grandmother cooking at the stove has grown into Brazil's ultimate symbol of family unity, safety, and care. Over a century of shared labor, two distinct cultures synthesized. The legacy of this migration is an unbreakable bond between generations, creating something new.